CPAC is this weird thing in American politics. It's like Comic-Con for the most insane right-wingers every year. To give an idea of how ridiculous it can be, last February, CPAC featured then President Donald Trump groping an American flag as he gave himself an A+++ grade for his handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Everything is under control. Turned out not to be the case, 500,000 American deaths later. The 2020 conference also featured a prankster disguised as Trump interrupting Vice President Mike Pence. That turned out to be Sacha Baron Cohen, who was filming for his secret Borat sequel. And also, this last year's CPAC happened in February when everybody knew that the pandemic was starting to happen and might hit the US. And what do you know? People got COVID at CPAC. So that's not gonna stop them from having it again. And this year, they don't want all of that ridiculousness of last year. They want to be serious, ideological. It is about conservative philosophy. And the theme of this year is America Uncanceled. They tried to cancel our votes, our voices, and our values. Our rallying cry for 2021 is that hashtag America Uncanceled. Except for the people that they're canceling, because they also tweeted yesterday, we have just learned that someone we invited to CPAC has expressed reprehensible views that have no home with our conference or our organization. The individual will not be participating at our conference. Now, Ida, I don't know how familiar you are with this individual that they canceled. They were right to. This is a whack job. But before we give the evidence about this individual and the things they've said, what do you think about CPAC on the one hand saying, we're gonna stand up to cancel culture, and then they had to cancel someone?
They're always canceling people. They always cancel people who don't, whose views don't are not in agreement with what they believe in, and that is what a lot of cancel culture has become. And so for me, it's like I did panels with these people at Politicon, and they want to be able to say mean stuff. They want to say disrespectful stuff. They want to say oppressive stuff without consequences, right? We did a panel on comedy, and I sat next to this weirdo, nerdy incel type dude that all he did was talk about Hannah Gatsby and was so furious that she had a special on Netflix, and he was like just very upset about it. And I was like, don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Those of us who are women see endless male comedians, white boys talking about their sex and all lower thirds comedy, and we don't watch it. I don't ask for it to be canceled. I just think that it's interesting that they like to cancel stuff when it just doesn't line up with the stuff that they want, that they are their program. But then they get upset when you tell them don't make fun of disabled people.
Exactly. Yeah, and I have so many frustrations about what the conversation about cancel culture has become. Like it might have at one point been a certain thing, but now it's whatever the right wants. And what I've always said is all that canceling actually is trying to make it so that people know who a person is, pointing out what they've said or done, and letting people decide based on that what they want to do. Having consequences for words and actions is not a new thing that was developed when someone came up with the term canceling. That is always what we've had, and that is what the right wants too. They just have come up with a way that they criticize people in the left or the center constantly, but that isn't canceling, because canceling now is just what the whole PC conversation was back in the 90s. It is, you are doing it if you are criticizing a conservative. Conservatives criticizing other people, that's just a free speech and open conversation. But when the left or the center does it, then it's an actual problem. And you said, they don't want consequences, but they also, consequences can mean a lot of things. They don't even want criticism. Yeah. So they say it's about consequences, but they really don't want criticism. But even that isn't actually honest, because a lot of them like having the sort of mantle of I've been canceled. That is a thing that makes you more popular on the right. So they say they don't want consequences when what they really mean is any pushback. But even when they get the pushback, that can honestly be a good thing for many of these people. The entire thing is just so fundamentally dishonest from top to bottom, when really all it is what we've always had. People get angry sometimes when you say or do reprehensible things, and they are fully within their rights to do that.
Yeah, and you know what? When it comes to cancel culture, the term that's been hijacked by so many people to make comments to really like berate younger people, like the millennials and stuff, with the intention of saying that they're weaker and they're not as strong as the older generation, that they can't take a joke or they can't. So for me, as a stand-up comedian, I'm subject to cancel culture all the time. I don't, there are people on the left who are also obnoxious when it comes to canceling because it comes from a very self-centered place. It comes from privilege. It comes from a lot of people feeling that you can't say anything to attack them, but they can laugh at everybody else, right? So I've encountered it from a lot of people, and I just think that when people hijack the term, is usually because they want to say messed up stuff about people. Because I get canceled, I don't care, because I know that my intentions are not to be hurtful and to berate people. When I say something that's offensive and that's wrong, I'm able to say, oh, I understand why that was offensive. I apologize for that. Not a big deal. I don't live in that. But they've just hijacked this cancel culture thing and built a whole platform on it.
Yeah.
Because it's just people want to be able to oppress others and they don't want to be accountable for it.
Yeah. And see, look, you actually you care about learning and making sure that you're staying up to date with what's going on in people's concerns. A lot of the people on the right are using the term now, like they will say, it's ridiculous for instance, a trans person to be sensitive about attacks against the trans community. That's crazy. Why would you be so focused on that? And yet that person saying that, who's almost certainly Christian, are they like really cool with people criticizing Christianity? No.
Yeah.
No, they want that to be protected. And again, that's why I say it's the politically correct conversation all over again. All those people, all the conservatives in the 90s who were talking about PC culture were not cool with criticisms of Christianity. That's just not a thing. It's just always been so one-sided.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.